socialism great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in the state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money and the power, never be fake. Stick to code, sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and power back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. BBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boy's TV.
Excuse me. I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. And I have a few things I want to talk about. What's going on, Ingrid Tater? How are you? Good to see you, sister. So let's get it cracking. First of all, I want to remind everybody that drboycetv.com is the home for intelligent Black people. So you ain't got to be that smart, but you at least got to be woke or trying to wake up. If you're not woke or trying to wake up, then you might want to get out of here because this is not the place for you. Type your hashtag B1 in the chat. Hashtag B1 means that we believe the Black community comes first. Our community matters to us more than any other community. Before we save others, we must save ourselves. So put your hashtag B1 in the chat to let us know what you represent, what you believe in. And I think it's okay for Black people to love Black people and for us to care about our community. So anyway, also what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to send a text message out. Basically letting people know that we're having this conversation. If you want to get a text message from me when we go live, text the word Boyce to 31996. If you text Boyce to 31996, how you doing, Faye Bishop? I see you in this, sister. Faye Bishop, smartest Black woman that I know, or definitely in the top 5, top 10. There's a few smart Black women. If you're a smart Black man, you'll have smart Black women in your ear. And Faye Bishop is one of the good ones, and God bless you, Faye. So let's see here. Did you guys see? Give me a yes or no in the chat if you saw that interesting interview between Joe Biden and Charlamagne Tha God on the Breakfast Club. Did you see that? It was a really fascinating interview, and Biden. I'm not really sure, but I think Biden might have fucked up. I think Biden might have messed up a little bit. I'll tell you, the interview was really interesting. I listened to the whole thing. And here's the deal. Toward the end, Biden makes a little comment basically insinuating that if you don't vote for him, then you ain't Black. Did anybody else catch that? That at the very end, he basically says that if you don't see the value of voting for me over Trump, then you ain't Black. First of all, let's start from the beginning. How many of you are offended by that statement? Some of y'all might not be offended. Some of y'all might think it's okay. It's okay to think it's okay. We respect diversity of opinions here. We're not like some of our crazy liberal friends who want to cuss you out and tell you that you're stupid because you have a different opinion from them. I don't do that. I believe in you believing what you believe. As long as we all agree that Black people should come first, then we on the same page. Okay. I'm seeing a lot of me's and yeses, and Irene says me, and Sandra says yes. Can you play Dr. Boyce? I'm highly offended. Yeah, well, you know what? I'm not going to play the clip on YouTube because YouTube likes to censor people and stuff like that. And every time I share any clips from the Breakfast Club, I get a weird penalty on my channel because they're really big on, censorship. Even when I was on the Breakfast Club, I shared a couple of the interviews that I did on the Breakfast Club, and they would always, I'd always get these little penalties on my YouTube channel. So I'm not going to share the clip, but I did put the clip on my Instagram at the end of the interview. So my Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins. If you go to The Real Boyce Watkins, you can see that little clip at the end. And it's really an interesting interview. I even took some notes as I listened to it to try to sort of understand it and to kind of hear it out just to make sure I knew what I was talking about and I could shape my thoughts. So I'm going to just briefly go through my thoughts, and I'm not going to waste a lot of your time today, but I want to kind of sort of give you some things to think about in this interview. As we move forward, do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button right now if you haven't done this yet. Heart the Artist, it says you can play the audio copyright free. That's what they say, but then you get these copyright dings, and it just doesn't. It just never works out. So I'm not going to play the audio. I'm going to encourage you to go watch the interview. Again, there's a clip of it on my Instagram, The Real Boyce Watkins, but you can also watch the full interview in its entirety online. So here's the first thing I noticed about the interview that I thought was interesting. And I sent Charlamagne a little text to let him know that I thought he did a good job. Overall, I approve this message. Everything Charlamagne does, I can't vouch for everything he does, but when a brother does something that I agree with, I think it's important to have some encouragement. So I just said, I thought you did a great job. I want to just make that clear. I watched the interview, and first thing I noticed is that Biden talked too fucking much. Like, he wouldn't shut the fuck up. Like, he just was talk. And I guess that's a politician's way of kind of controlling the conversation. So he just kind of rambled on and on and on and on and on and on and on about all the great things he's done and everything else. And Biden's a good communicator, though. He didn't get to this point in politics by being a stupid man. Maybe he's losing a little bit of his he's losing a few of his faculties. The man's not a spring chicken, but he had all his faculties there in that interview. I felt like he was communicating in a really cogent sort of way, but he talked a little bit too much. I didn't like that. The other thing he didn't do, or he did, but that I took note of, is he used typical Democratic Party scare tactics. What they tend to do is they know that Black people are easily triggered. They know that Black people are easily, like, we like to react to stuff. Like, oh Lord Jesus, oh Lord, we get bug-eyed and scared, and that's when white folks come in and they present themselves as your heroes, your saviors, your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and they present themselves as the people that are going to protect you from the thing that scares you. So the number one thing that Biden mentioned repeatedly throughout the interview is the number of Black people that are dying from the whole, COVID thing, right? Which is real. It's very real. There are real deaths that come with the COVID. But one of the things that you also have to kind of make sure that you balance and contextualize is that Black people have been dying by the hundreds of thousands every year, consistently, all the time. Like, it's not like Black people just started to die last week, right? Again, going back 3-4 months ago, and I'm gonna keep bringing this up until the day I die, when we had that whole crazy Lizzo controversy where I called out the mass promotion of obesity and diabetes and heart disease to the Black community as if it's a cool thing, as if it's body positivity, and everybody gave me the backlash. I said, oh, okay, so you must be okay with Black people dying as long as you're being entertained as you die. As long as Lizzo's big butt is out here doing her left cheek, right cheek, drop it low and then swang, then y'all think that's cool, so you're okay with Black death. Apparently Black death does not bother you, so fine, fuck it. Let's just move on. But don't applaud death and heart disease, diabetes, strokes, and obesity in the Black community 1 minute, and then the next minute try to get all emotional and go Jesus Christy on me when you see that another 10,000 people died from COVID or whatever, right? So that's the contradiction. That's why you lose, because sometimes you end up contradicting yourself. But the thing was, he continuously brought up the COVID scare. And because that's the cool thing to talk about. That's the trigger. That's the big trigger. And so that's what they leveraged. And that's what his advisors told him to leverage during the interview. Now, the other thing that was interesting was he talked a lot about Black leadership co-signing on him. Like, he repeatedly mentioned that Black leadership supports him. Black leadership, I always get the endorsement from the NAACP. I always get the Congressional Black Caucus. They agree with everything that I do. And that right there is an interesting point, in the sense that I don't know. I can't put my finger on all the demographics, but I have my finger on my demographic, which consists, of a few million Black people that give a damn what I have to say. And one thing I've noticed when I do polls and surveys, because I'm a statistician, so I like to get my data, is that there is a large percentage of you who literally don't give a flying fuck what the NAACP has to say. In fact, how many of you in here right now, give me a yes if you have a fuck to give about what the NAACP and the Congressional Black Caucus says, and give me a no if literally it goes in one ear and out the other. Like, give me a no if you don't take cues from the CBC and the NAACP. Give me a yes if they guide you, if that's your primary guide on what you choose to believe as a black person. Okay, Darnell says that the NAACP supported Donald Sterling, right? They gave Donald Sterling an award, right? Donald Sterling is that racist owner of the LA Clippers. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of no's in here. A lot of no's. Now here's the thing, right? This is what's interesting to me. This is what tells me I must be a weirdo, or maybe I'm marginalized or out of touch. I don't know. Maybe I'm not. I'm certainly not mainstream, and that's okay. I don't want to be mainstream because mainstream is stupid. Honestly, I think being black and mainstream is a recipe for death. It's a recipe for slavery. So I'm not trying to be a slave. So I'm not trying to be mainstream. I'm not trying to do what everybody else is doing because everybody else is losing. Your community's losing. You're losing in wealth. You're losing in terms of education. You're losing in almost every category imaginable. So I don't want to be over there. I just don't. I want to be over here with the people that are trying to figure out the solution. So maybe I'm out of touch with this, but when I'm seeing, and this is my point here, when I'm seeing millions and millions of black people who are consistently stating those Negroes do not represent us, I can't help but feel like there must be something to that. I can't help but feel that the Bidens of the world and those who ride with them, because they always get their little Negro surrogates and everything. They get their Angela Ryes and people like that who are going to make money from pretty much repeating whatever they tell them to say, the Roland Martins and whatever, because they're all trying. This is the elite. These are the individuals that are going to get jobs if Biden gets elected. So that's cool. That's good for their self-interest. I don't know if it's good for the community's interest, but it is what it is. I just can't help but feel like they're missing something, really big and really bold there, right? And also you contrast that with the fact that there are very few people in the entertainment space, and black people worship entertainers. We just do. I hate it, but it's real. There are very few people that have more impact in the entertainment space than guys like Charlamagne Tha God and Diddy. And Diddy, I think, I'm not sure of the exact relationship, but I believe Diddy's connected with Charlamagne's Breakfast Club, Revolt TV type thing. Now, pay attention now. This is what's interesting. This is what's fascinating to me. I'm a little bit of an armchair quarterback in the political thing, because I told you guys what my feeling is. Until I get impressed enough to vote for a candidate, I'm holding my vote. I'm protecting my vote. I'm saving my vote the way a 16-year-old girl protects her virginity and whatever, and wants to wait for the right man. Well, I'm waiting for the right politician. So if you want to get in these draws, you're going to have to come to me with something that's going to really work, because I'm not going to let you get anywhere near my vote until you show me something that impresses me enough to make a move, right? So here's what I'm hearing, right? You hear Diddy on one hand, who actually made what I thought was a really, solid statement where he said, I'm willing to withhold the black vote. Now, I thought that was a little bit pretentious, a little bit presumptuous, in the sense that Diddy feels that he has the ability to withhold the black vote, but we'd be lying to ourselves if we didn't admit that Diddy has sway and influence, right? He does have sway, and I hope that he meant it in a genuine way. Like, I hope he really meant, like I'm really, really serious. If it's not real, I'm not moving forward. Or if he's posturing, because sometimes people will take the lead, they'll jump out in front and so they can posture, and then they just take control of the car so they can drive it off a cliff. So I'm hoping he's not posturing. I'm hoping he's real. I also witnessed Charlamagne, again, a person who has a lot of influence in entertainment and politics in a lot of areas of black life. Whether you like him or not, he's good at what he does. Very good at what he does. He's really sort of done these interviews that have become a baptism by fire for anybody seeking to get the black vote. And it is my humble opinion that he really means what he says, that he's really asking the questions that nobody else will ask. None of the Negro surrogates on MSNBC would ever in a million years ask Joe Biden the questions that Charlamagne was asking him that day. Nobody. None of these. I mean, the MSNBC Negroes are like, "Massa, can I get a job?" Like that's where they're sitting. They're like, "Ooh, Mr. Biden, I just think you so lovely. I just love you so much. I just want to be your friend, and I just hope that you will tell me that I'm special and that I'm beautiful and that I is smart and that I is important." Right? Like they just don't have the balls to really confront the Democratic Party in what is a convincing way, right? And so Biden is used to that. Like Biden's kind of used to these puppets. He's used to these people that are simply going to carry water for the party, that are going to just be honored to be invited into the room, that are just going to take whatever they tell them to say and run with it, right? But then you've got the more, what I would call the more radical factions of the Black community, but they're radical, but that radicalism is not sort of this tiny little margin that you can afford to ignore. This little radical faction, which I think Charlamagne is, I give him credit for being a part of that. Sure, he's a mainstream guy, but you got to give the brother some credit for for the good things he's trying to do, because it's not easy. I mean, a lot of folks that might criticize the way he might go about things. You've never really been in his shoes. Like, you don't kind of know what it's like on one hand to be getting text from Barack Obama, and then the next minute getting text from Nicki Minaj, over a beef she has with some rapper, right? It's kind of a strange world that they live in. I wouldn't want to trade that for anything, but I don't think they're ready for this. I really don't. And what I also believe is that they're going to pay a price for their arrogance. They're going to pay a huge price for that arrogance. Because when you're talking about the new Black media and you go really to the core of what I consider to be the core of authenticity in Black media, you start drilling deeper into, where the Vicky Dillards live and people like that. You're not talking about a couple of people. You're really talking about people that have truth on their side, people that are a lot more critical, a lot more intelligent, a lot more capable of discernment. And also, most importantly, they are not afraid. They're not afraid to say, you know what? You ain't doing nothing for me, so I'm not doing nothing for you. This relationship will come to an end until you come correct and do what's right. Do right by us. If you don't do right by Black people, then Trump is going to get reelected over and over and over again. And then his son will get reelected after him. And until you decide to do right by Black people. And you know what that means. So one of the biggest mistakes that Biden made during the interview, I thought, was he kept reciting the support he has from these Black organizations that a lot of Black people don't respect. There are a lot of Black people who have just lost all faith in the NAACP. No disrespect to you if you are a member of the NAACP, but the NAACP's track record does not stand the test of significant Black scrutiny. So let me move on. Hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done it yet. By the way, thank you guys for hanging out with us for Black Movie Night. We're having the conversation online. Use the hashtag Black Movie Night, and you can follow the discussion that we're having on different social media platforms about the film we watched, which was Resurrecting Black Wall Street, The Blueprint. If you sign up, go to firstsharestock.com and sign up and get on the mailing list. And I'm going to email out the recording of Black Movie Night one time, so you can watch the film one time if you want to watch it. And then after that, we're gonna after it's going to be taken off. But feel free to go to firstshareofstock.com. You can also learn how to buy your first share of stock. I believe every Black person should become an investor. That's how we're actually going to make our power move. That's how you actually make a move, is you learn to invest, you learn to build wealth, and then you have power where no one can tell you what to do at that point. Okay, so here's some other things that I noticed. Biden did a lot of conversation about the crime bill, which was very interesting to hear him justify the crime bill. I don't think that I think that's a bad strategy for him to even try to act like that was a good thing. I think it's been sort of decided within the Black community that mass incarceration epidemic, as crippling as it was for the community, it was an overly heavy-handed, very racist reaction from white folks, even in the Democratic Party, to what was a serious problem in terms of crime and violence. But you literally handle it completely the wrong way, right? You let the CIA drop all these drugs and whatever into the Black community. All the jobs and education opportunities are gone. And then suddenly the crime comes out and you don't solve the problem at the root, right? You don't help build better communities. You go in and you solve the problem by saying, we're going to go in and basically do to the Black community, the entire Black community, what we did to the Greenwood section of Tulsa, Oklahoma during the Black Wall Street Massacre, which, by the way, the 99-year anniversary of the Black Wall Street Massacre is in about a week. So I want you to take a moment and do an ashe for the ancestors and commemorate what these great Black people lost and the billions of dollars in wealth that disappeared because white folks ain't got no goddamn sense, when it comes to racism, right? Seriously, no this is not saying all white people participated or all white people would have participated, but the fact that most people in America don't even talk about it or acknowledge it is one of the elements of that latent anger, that anger that black folks feel down in their gut that says, you fucked us and you never made it right. You did us wrong. You did us dirty. You screwed with us and you ain't never made it right. And now you have the audacity to show up, asking for our vote, trying to scare us into giving you our vote, acting like you are our savior when you have not ever done right by black folks. Get the hell out of my face. Seriously, you look like a bad baby daddy who ain't paid child support in 8 years, showing up trying to get a piece of ass. Yeah, you like seriously, get off my porch, get out of my face, get out of my life. There's no space for you here anymore, right? And I think that's what is not addressed, right? That elephant in the room of legitimate black anger that is not addressed. There's this whole idea of where is my land? We owned 15 times more land 100 years ago than we own today. Where's my property? Where's my wealth? Where are my resources? Where are those bank accounts? Where's all the businesses that we should have inherited? Where's our cash? Where's the shit that you took from us and never gave it back? We can't even begin to have any other conversation until we have a real conversation about the real shit that you took from us. And I think that there are many folks who feel that way, and your anger is completely justified. It's completely justified. It's okay to be mad if you're black because you got a lot of stuff to be mad about. So I watched this interview with Charlamagne and Biden. And another interesting thing that happened toward the end, the last 2 minutes, the interview got real contentious. Toward the end, you could hear some guy, he sounded kind of sweet. He was like, excuse me, I thank you so much for the interview. It was really great. And but it's time for us to go. We got another meeting. And he just kind of just happened to keep chiming in when the interview got a little bit too black for comfort. Almost like he's protecting his guy, right? So he comes in, thank you very much, but I'm so sorry. We have to go, right? Yeah, I bet you do, right? So the heat got a little bit hot, and there was a point where Biden said something that was really strange. He basically says, if you can't understand why you should vote for me over Trump, then you ain't black. I said, what? Did he really just say that? Did this arrogant white man literally just walk in this interview like a damn overseer, like a plantation overseer, and literally claim his right to define what it means to be black? You're legislating blackness now? So you mad because the governors or because Trump wants to, institute his little policies or whatever and tell people what to do, which is fine. I don't care how you feel about that. But you're literally coming in and saying, if you don't vote for me, then you ain't black. Ain't that a bitch? Ain't that a bitch? The first thing is, I'm glad he said that, because it's not that often that white folks act white enough for you to really see the white supremacy that exists in the blood of even the people that you think are your allies. Basically what he's saying when he says, if you don't vote for me, then you ain't black, he's really behaving like a pimp. He's basically saying, the same thing Trump said. Remember when Trump was running for president and Trump said, well, black people, what have you got? What the hell you got to lose? Right? Remember he said that? And the Democrats got outraged because he said that. And it was right. He had no right to say that. And he should be doing more. He certainly should be doing more. Right. But then Biden comes along and basically says the same damn thing. When he says, if you don't vote for me over Trump, then you ain't black. He's basically saying, what have you got to lose? What options do you have? What, you going to go vote for him? Oh, well, you can't do better than us. If I don't love you, then nobody will. If we don't take you, then nobody. You ain't got nowhere to go. And that is the kind of statement an abuser makes, right? An abuser kind of says, you know, if I don't take you in, if I don't love you, if you ain't got me, you ain't gonna have nothing. You ain't got nothing out there if you don't come back to me, right? And so I think that anybody who feels like you want to actually teach them a lesson by saying, no, actually, we do have options. We actually do have freedom. And freedom means that I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want. That you will never in a million years ever have the right to tell me what it means to be black. You do not define my blackness. I don't even let black people define my blackness. I got a bunch of people coming in my inbox talking about you, your doc, you ain't sounding black right now. You cooning out, doc. You ain't black enough. And my response every single time is fuck you and the horse you rode in on, because you will not ever in a million years define what my blackness means to me. There is no one way to be black, and it certainly is not defined by whether or not you are a member of the Democratic or Republican parties. That is an incredibly ridiculous, arrogant, disrespectful thing to say. And so I think Biden screwed up. I really do. I think that was a terrible thing to say. It's not. I mean, sure, there are going to be black people who are going to agree, because there are black people who kind of follow the crowd. They follow the lead of the Democratic Party. They maybe it's a self-esteem issue. Or a fear issue, right? Like black folks aren't known for our courage. We're just not. I'm sorry. We're not known for having the ability to stand up to white folks, right? We're known more for following along and kind of hoping for the best and praying to white Jesus and whatever, and marching. You know, if somebody shoots one of your kids, you don't go get a gun. You go get a Bible and you hold a march in a prayer meeting. And then they shoot more of your kids because they're like, oh, okay, so you ain't gonna do shit. All right, cool. We're gonna do a Dylan roof on all of y'all, right? Like that's how they see you. They see you as weak. They have no respect for you. Dr. Claude Anderson broke all that down yesterday, actually. If you go to drboystv.com, you can check out the interview. Dr. Claude Anderson basically said white folks don't just dislike you because you're black. They mostly dislike you because you're weak. They have no respect for you because you don't stand up for yourselves. You're easily intimidated, and nobody respects a person who's easily intimidated and easily bullied. So when the Democrats or Republicans, whoever, whatever, name your politician, when they come to your community and they can bully you into voting for them, then they say, okay, we got these people. We got them in the back of in our back pocket. They're easy. This is easy. This is easy sex. You're political sluts. Political and economic sluts. A slut is somebody who doesn't value themselves. A slut is somebody who gives it up easy, right? So that's what you are. You're seen as the political sluts, and everybody can depend on a slut. Everybody knows that, you let a hoe be a hoe, and a hoe's gonna be a hoe. And one thing they know about hoes, Willie D said, is you never turn a hoe into a housewife. Right? Remember, Willie D said that. Willie D said, let a hoe be a hoe and don't turn a hoe into a housewife. And the reality is that you are political hoes, and they will never make you into a political housewife because you haven't commanded that respect. In fact, I watched the Alfred Hitchcock show last night, and it was really funny. There was this man, it was really good. Alfred Hitchcock, those shows are really good. And this man has this sick wife, and he gets this maid or nurse, live-in nurse, and she's this beautiful lady, and he falls in love with the nurse, and he wants to have this affair with the nurse, and they give each other this big passionate kiss, and they're trying to figure out what to do about the wife, because Alfred Hitchcock always ends up with somebody getting killed. And so there's a point where the man looks at his wife and he says, or looks at the girlfriend, and he's like, I would love for us to just be lovers. And she looked at him, she said, no, wife. And that was it. And he's like, okay, right? So for black people, the Democratic Party is basically saying to you, I just want us to be secret lovers. Like I just want us to have, I just want you to be our little political booty call where we can benefit from having you around, but we're not really gonna actually acknowledge you or respect you in public. So they're saying to you, I just want you to be my booty call. And because your self-esteem is low and you don't believe you have anywhere else to go, and you don't believe anybody else is gonna love you, you accept whatever you can get. They literally pee on you and tell you it's raining, and you say, well, at least I'm not thirsty right now. At least I got some pee to drink, right? And there are black folks who have that because there's a collective self-esteem issue that's taught to you from birth. But then you got black people who don't have that self-esteem problem. You got black people who say, no, don't pee on me and tell me it's raining. I know the difference between pee, rain, and clean water, right? You got black people who say, no, I don't want to be a booty call. I want to be a wife. I'm not a hoe. I'm going to be a housewife, or I want to be a legitimate partner in this process. If you can't partner with me in a legitimate and respectful way, then just get out of my house and go find somebody else, because we are not here to be your hoes, right? So I believe at the end of the day, I'm not telling you that you're stupid if you're black and you vote for the Democrats or Republicans. I don't really care about all of that. All I care about is that you love yourself first. And if you love yourself first and you care about yourself first, then you're not going to support anybody anywhere that doesn't have that same reciprocity when it comes to showing that they love you back. That is a fundamental human principle that I hope that we can agree on. I hope that we can agree that when you give somebody your love, they got to love you back. And so give me a yes in the chat if you at least agree on that basic idea that of a quid pro quo. I love you, you love me. I respect you, you respect me. Equality, right? That's what equality looks like. The Democrats talk all the time about equality. I don't know if they believe in equality, because if you feel that you can come in and intimidate black people into voting for you, or scare them into voting for you, or guilt trip them into voting for you, and not offer anything tangible in return, then there's a lack of respect issue that must be addressed, right? So give me a yes if you at least agree on the concept of equality and reciprocity. And at that point, what I want you to do is I just want you to take that concept, make it mean to you whatever it's going to mean to you. I'm not here to tell you what to do, because God forbid, I'm not here to be another Joe Biden. I'm not here to tell you that if you go vote for somebody that you ain't black enough. I don't care who you vote for. I'm not even going to ask you, because at the end of the day, I just want you to vote for yourself. I want you to vote for your children. I want you to vote for your community. I want you to vote for your family. I want you to vote for your last name, not your first name. I want you to vote for your legacy. And that means doing what's best for you and doing what's best for your family. And that's the best advice I can ever give you in a million years. So last point I'll make, Biden at the end of the interview, he mentioned something about extending black voting rights for 25 years. The Democrats need to stop doing that. Stop bragging about the fact that you've extended black voting rights, because I'm not here to disagree that we shouldn't have voting rights. But what I am here to say is that the reason that the Democrats consistently mention black voting rights is because they need you to be able to show up to put gas in the tank of their car so they can drive it to the White House. They need you to consistently show up and give them your votes so that they can then have the power that comes with having people voting for them, right? And I'm not saying that that's always a bad thing. Sure, that's fine. But remember, at the end of the day, if you're giving someone power and they're not using that to also empower you, then basically you're, once again, being put in the category of being a political hoe. And at the end of the day, nobody in their right mind is going to turn a hoe into a housewife. So it's not up to the person who's exploiting the hoe to change their behavior. An abuser is going to be an abuser, right? Seriously, a predator is going to be a predator. Right? A womanizer is going to be a womanizer. So it's not so much up to you expecting. Some of y'all go through life expecting an abuser, a womanizer, or a nasty person to suddenly become kind to you. And instead, you must also look internally and realize that maybe the choice is up to you. Maybe the onus is on you to not just expect them to change their behavior, but it's also on you to change your standards, because when you change your standards, they will typically change their behavior. When a woman stands up to a man, I think this is the perfect analogy. When a woman stands up to a man and says, no, this is not acceptable in this house. No, you're not going to get away with that anymore. No, I'm not falling for that bullshit anymore. Then what you'll find is that men elevate their behavior. They respond to you. I teach my daughters this. I tell them, look, you train a man how to treat you. You teach him how to treat you. That's why the same man will treat the men. Fellas, please confirm this for me so that they know I'm not talking out of the side of my ass. You can have the same damn man who treats two women completely different based on what they let him get away with. Seriously. And that is 100% true. So that same energy that comes up when you talk about relationships, and I think it's also true when you reverse the genders too. And we can talk about that as well, but let's stick with this analogy so I don't get confusing here. But what I will say to you at the end of the day is that when you talk about these political pimps, when you talk about these political predators, when you talk about these political players, they're going to get away with whatever you allow them to get away with. So it's not up to them to change their behavior. I'm not putting this on Biden. I'm putting this on you. What the hell are your standards going to be? Or are you going to go through life with no standards and expect white Jesus to make things better? It's up to you to decide. I'm going to leave that on you. I got to go, guys. I'm late for a meeting. I love you. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope this message came with the spirit it was intended. Also, hashtag B1, put that in the chat. We can finish the conversation online. Please hit the thumbs up button, share, and subscribe button before you go. And I'll check back in a little bit later. So make sure you subscribe and all that stuff. I'll see you soon. Take care. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in the state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money and the power, never be fake. Stick to code, sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same empire back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. BBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boy's TV.